This video will show you the best way to start playing in the global version of the game. I will also explain to you what are the most important decisions you need to make, and of course, I will provide you a brief overview of each weapon in what you could call a tier list format. Keep in mind, Tower of Fantasy is in a very unique position because it's already been released in China, which is ahead of global in terms of new content, so I will also talk about your options if you want to save up for future units. Now, in the first hour of the game, you will unlock Thunderous Halberd weapon from the gacha system. There are no characters in the game. Instead, when you pull a new weapon, you also unlock that weapon's character skin, and so for the sake of convenience when moving forward, I will refer to the weapons as its character skin name, which in this case, Thunderous Halberd unlocks Echo's skin. Now, Echo is a really important character to understand because in this game, most of the enemies, including other players who might fight in PvP, they will have a shield around them, and if you don't break it, you will deal significantly less damage. So the main strategy is to always use one weapon as your shield breaker in almost all of the content you'll be doing. And it just so happens Echo is a shield breaker, which can always be confirmed by looking at the weapon's shatter value that shows up with a high rating. But the thing about her is that she quickly falls off compared to other SSR shield breakers. So once you get somebody else who can do her job, she gets outclassed more or less. Now, there's a total of 5 super rare weapons, which are Echo, Hilda, Annie, Ling, and Pepper. The only one that kind of remains relevant later into the game is Pepper, because she's a healer, which becomes especially relevant in co-op or if you play with your friends and want to be their healer. Otherwise, they all pretty much can keep up with the SSR options. But remember, you will pull a lot of these super rare weapons from the gacha, and they will help you get through the start of the game before you unlock the rarest SSR weapons. Now, the first SSR I want to talk about is Shiro. She acts as your shield breaker and a sub damage dealer and can pull off some really good performance with the weapon skill. What's also really cool about her is that after getting to 3rd advancement, you're also able to reset all of your weapons cooldowns, which is kinda crazy. And if you're wondering, what is an advancement? Well, it's basically like a constellation from Genshin Impact. So when you obtain duplicates of the weapon, you gain new powers. However, unlike Genshin, you can buy these duplicates from the shop by using currency called Black Gold, which you will earn when pulling in the weapon gacha system. Still, getting the 3rd advancement is really expensive, and this is her best selling point, so without it, she does need a little bit of resources to make her work when compared to other shield breakers. But one good thing about her is that she did get buffed during the global launch, reducing her extremely long 60-second weapon skill cooldown down to 45 seconds, which is honestly pretty amazing with all things considered. Now, here we have Cocoritter, who is an important unit to some players because she's one of the few who can heal in the game. The skill will provide continuous healing that will follow you and heal everyone inside it, while the discharge, when activated, will continuously remove debuffs from you and your allies, as well as keep healing everyone as well. Basically, Cocoritter is a dedicated healer weapon, really good for co-op or against world bosses when you're struggling, and since there's only few healing options to choose from, she is pretty important when you need it. She also gains a really good upgrade at 1st advancement, which will not only heal but also restore weapon charge points, which are needed to activate discharges. Overall, a really super solid support option. Since we're talking about support, the next one is Zero. Now, he is a pretty comfortable unit you can use in world exploration, his skill provides some damage absorption, and his discharge can make your allies immune to damage. The thing about him is that his important supporting capabilities are locked behind advancements, like the first one can produce healing orbs, while the 3rd one reduces the skill's cooldown by half, and also constantly heals while the damage absorption is active. Overall, I would say he is comfortable to use in your weapon loadout, but does require some advancements to make him work better as a support, mainly if you care about increasing your personal damage through buffing, which is only possible after 5th advancement. So as you can imagine, this requires a lot of black gold or getting lucky with these duplicates from the gacha. Probably one of the coolest weapons in the game, Samir is able to do this cool spinning attack in midair, which keeps you out of reach from most enemy attacks, and overall, she can dish out a lot of damage and offers really fast charge rate, which you can use to unleash discharges. By the way, this is the first SSR weapon in the list, whose primary role is to act as your main source of damage. So after you're done breaking the enemy's shield and you got the buffs from your support, Samir shines as your main source of damage by unleashing the discharge and the weapon skill. Now, she does require some playing around when it comes to short range and long range combat due to how her animations work, but otherwise, she's a pretty safe option to pick if you want to crush early to mid game. Another dedicated damage dealer in the list, Crow is a really interesting case because his playstyle is based around backstabbing and unleashing powerful damage from air combos as well as boosting critical rate. But the thing is, What I just described to you requires Crow to have nearly all advancements unlocked, and without them, he isn't that amazing when compared to someone like Samir. However, if you do decide to heavily invest your black gold into maxing out his weapon, then sure, he becomes pretty awesome. There is a small exception about him, which I'll talk about soon, but for now, just be aware he is one of the least free-to-play units in the game. Now, King, I kind of feel sorry for this guy because everyone keeps calling him the budget Diluc, when in reality, he is more like budget Sephiroth. Oh, yeah, I probably haven't mentioned this yet, but you actually unlock a new alternative skin of the weapon once you get to the 3rd advancement. Anyway, so King is actually a really super solid weapon, and I have a feeling a lot of people will be going for him. First of all, he's one of the best shield breakers when the game launches, but also, if you manage to obtain his first advancement, breaking enemy shield will also leave them with a burning damage over time. That's pretty significant. Not only that, but he also dishes out some serious area damage from both the weapon skill and discharge, and the air combos are really good. There are some reports saying that his animations can get interrupted easily, so keep that in mind, but otherwise, he's a very solid starter weapon. Now, on paper, you would think Tsubasa is not that amazing, but in reality, her weapon is really good for quickly charging up discharges, and it has one of the most important upgrades you could get by obtaining the first advancement. Basically, by doing a dash attack up to 3 times, you can increase your personal attack by up to 15%. However, keep in mind that compared to the China's version, this buff got nerfed because it used to be a 24% attack increase, which is a significant drop-off. And yet, this is still a really good support buff you can get for your weapon loadout, and basically, it's one of the best starting SSR weapons you can get. You could say that Meryl likes to spin to win because nothing's stopping her when using this spin attack. Like, literally, she gains super armor doing this fun spin attack, which in addition to this, she's also a really good shield breaker. In fact, if you get the first advancement, breaking shields will also heal yourself, but on the other hand, this also means you're not getting rewarded with some kind of a powerful effect like King, who can deal damage after a shield break. Her discharge is also kinda slow, but in the end, if all you want is a really fun playstyle and solid shield breaking, she's all you really need. Yet another shield breaker in this list, but I promise, this one's really interesting. So, Huma's weapon is really fascinating because after using that weapon skill, it will change into either shield or axe mode. Using the shield, you can do things like stun enemies or block incoming damage, while the axe is just a fun way to slash through the enemies. She is also balanced with all things considered. She can charge up weapons pretty fast, and shields can be broken efficiently, but the main problem with her is that unlike other shield breakers, you get nothing for, well, breaking an enemy shield. But honestly, as a starter character, she's a safe option to go for, although playing around these weapon modes might not be appreciated by everyone. Now, depending on when you're watching this video, Nemesis is the first banner that comes in the game's global launch, and there's a few important things that need to be discussed about her. First of all, she is a support, and her whole playstyle revolves around placing these electrodes that deal damage to surrounding enemies. Now, just by unlocking the first advancement, she also becomes a really good healer, so combine these two things, and her weapon is just excellent for off-field damage support. But the big thing about her is a very unique buff the weapon offers, which is the Volt Resonance. Every other weapon I talked about so far, every one of them has an element. There's Ice, Fire, Volt, and Physical. Now Crow, Samir, Echo, and Pepper are all Volt-type weapons, and if you equip 2 Volt weapons, you will gain Volt Resonance, which increases Volt attack by 15% and Volt resistance by 25%. This is only possible with Nemesis weapon, and no other weapon offers Volt Resonance as of making this video. Basically, if you want to build a Volt team, Nemesis is a must-pull. Even though I have to mention this, compared to the China's version, this Volt Resonance got nerfed, and in addition to this, it seems like her 3rd and 5th advancements also got nerfed. I personally think that the developers were too afraid she might be too disruptive to the global launch meta, since there's PvP in the game, so with all of these nerfs coming out of the woodwork, it's really more like a balancing patch applied to her. Now, does this mean she's just not good compared to China's version? Honestly, I don't think so, because she's still a really good damage and healing support if you invest into her, while she also offers significant damage boost to Volt weapon loadouts. And speaking of weapon loadout strategy, I hope I didn't get you annoyed by me repeating shield break over and over again during this video because, to be real with you, that's the most important decision you first need to make. Decide which shield breaking weapon looks most enjoyable to you and go for it. Next in the priority would be to obtain a DPS weapon like Samir's handguns, Tsubasa's bow, or Crow's daggers. And keep in mind, if you go to the Apex Arena, which is the PvP mode, you only need a single copy of the weapon to have a fair fight, because everything else gets evenly balanced. And don't forget, there's quite a few co-op modes in the game, which means some players will focus on tanking, others will want to heal. There's actually weapon type bonuses that increase your healing or tanking or DPS, depending if you equip two of the same weapon types. So again, this is why I don't want to put too much emphasis on the tier list and show you that most of the characters are viable depending on the situation. Finally, besides these evaluations, it's time we talk about a very important topic that's going to be discussed over and over again when this video is out. Basically, Tower of Fantasy launched some time ago in China, and it has way more characters, or should I say more weapons, so the meta is completely different when compared to what's happening with the global version of the game. So again, this is why I didn't want you to focus too much on the tier list, and instead understand the core mechanics and the weapons you'll be using. See, the thing is, China's meta right now is running mono element teams. There's Volt, Ice, Fire, and Physical teams that are all built around limited characters, some of which are even collab characters. And there's no update so far regarding when and if we will get these characters on global. The 4 characters I'm showing to you here each offer that resonance effect I talked about before, and besides Nemesis, none of them are in the global version yet. So this is why you might hear some of the things that get thrown around about the game's balance, because for example, Ruby here, she completely power crept King when she got released, since she's a shield breaker who also provides fire resonance. But keep in mind, we're already seeing very different balance changes made to the global version compared to China's, and it's very likely some weapons on the global are going to get buffed and have the resonance bonus on them. So for now, my best advice would be to just obtain a shield breaker you believe you'll enjoy using the most, then get a DPS weapon, and if possible, also get a support weapon to complete the trifecta. I honestly wanted to make this video because I've been playing Tower of Fantasy in a lot of closed beta tests, and I'm well aware of what's happening in the Chinese version of the game. So when I saw all of these balance changes and characters' release orders getting shuffled around, I just wanted to make a video for myself, so that I remind myself I first need to focus on obtaining core weapons to make my journey in this game much easier. Anyway, if you like this video, I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe to my channel and leave a like on the video. I'm not sure how much Tower of Fantasy content I'll be making since, you know, I'm a Genshin content creator, but let me know in the comments what videos you'd like to see about Tower of Fantasy. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you soon.